Welcome back, YouTube family. Today I got a super interesting video and we're going to talk about what it means to be home poor, how to avoid it, and what I think about it. So when you're home poor, the definition is right up on here on the screen, and it basically means that you are not able to pay your mortgage and you're struggling to pay your mortgage. So let's look at what that means with some numbers. Like you guys know, I like numbers. So let's look at it. So I pulled some stats. So the average net worth of Millennials and Gen Zs is $76,000. So when you take away the Millennials, you can probably say the Gen Z is worth about 50 grand. So with 50K down payment on a house, they say you should put 20% down on your house so you can avoid PMI insurance and some other stuff. So that means you can buy a house around $200,000, and you need 50K a year to pay for that. So what does that mean in monthly payment wise? Well, monthly payment wise, you're going to be paying $1,500 for that mortgage. Well, it might not seem a lot, but now we are going to talk about what you're making on 50K a year. When you're talking about making 50K a year, your take-home pay is about $3,500. So $3,500 is not a lot of money if you make that in a month. So now let's look at what you're spending it on. Well, if your mortgage and your fees and taxes and everything is $1,500, that means it's almost half. That means you're almost paying half of your monthly income going towards housing. Is that a great idea? I think that's horrible. Horrible. And if you're one of these people that spent more than 50% on your house, let me know in the comments below, because I'd love to know why you're doing that and how you're doing that, and if it's recommendable, because I've watched Dave Ramsey here in the last few hours. Just, I'm surfing YouTube, I browse YouTube, and I see somebody talking about they're making 10 grand a month, and their mortgage is $5,200, just the mortgage alone. And they just bought a year ago, and they said it was their dream. They're making about $150 a year, what's very good, and it's their dream. So that dream costs them $5,200 a month. And when you look at it and you make 10 grand, you can add another $700 for your car payment. And because they have one car, or just the average American, so you're already at $6,000. From that $10,000 net home pay, you are frankly only having $4 grand to your disposal, with utilities, with going out, lifestyle, and some other things. You only have $4,000 to spare with. And from that $4,000, you can now buy food, groceries, spend it on life, experiences and whatnot. So $4 grand isn't a whole lot when you make $10,000 to go towards retirement, because you got to invest, right? Because your house, it's nice to have that equity gain, you're like, oh, my house is worth $1 million. But if you're not going to do something with that and take that equity out of the property and get it into a stock mutual fund or something that grows more than your house, that equity just sitting there. Yeah, it's building up, but it's also not making you money. And when you buy stocks or dividends, something like that, that will then make you money. So what kind of car did they get? Well, they got about a $40,000 car, because that's about $800 a month. And it's not an outlandish number by any means, but it is insanely crazy that you're spending $6 grand on just fixed cost without any enjoyment or anything else is paid for. So when we're looking at running numbers, if people can afford it, it should be about 33%. So their mortgage should be $3,000 instead of $5,200. Because if something goes wrong, and they said, oh, we don't have an emergency fund no more, we don't have that. And yeah, when you have a house that they've bought for $700,000, if you bought a house like that, that comes with maintenance. And I was shocked by the maintenance that we're doing on our house, because we've bought a more expensive house than they did, and our house is bigger and sitting on more lot and more fancier trees, more fancier, just wherever the bigger the house is and the more expensive it is, that also means that you're paying more in maintenance, in utilities, in all kinds of different stuff. Because when you upgrade your house, you upgrade in square footage, and that means you upgrade in electricity cost, you upgrade in all these other type of deals that you don't know, right? You pay more on insurance, you pay more on everything. So it's great to have a huge income like that, but then spending it all on your house, is that worth it? So now Dave Ramsey, wasn't Dave Ramsey, it was some of his other guys, I don't know it because I don't watch Dave Ramsey really, but one of his guys was like, or that lady that was on the show said, so how much is it comparable to rent in that area? And they said the comparable rent for her place is about $3,000. So they're saving $2,000 a month actually with renting. And I know people are going to be screaming in the comments telling me, oh, renting is throwing your money out. Well, no, because you have $2,200 to invest it and make it grow. So if you want the real analysis of how it's cheaper to rent or buy, it's actually really simple. You need to calculate from your mortgage, take away the interest and take away insurance and property taxes, because don't do you anything. So you take that out, right? You take the interest, you add the interest, insurance and property tax, and then it comes up with a number. And if that number is going to be bigger than renting, you know you got a good deal. So when you rent, and you spend money on renting, it's not tossed out the window. You cannot look at it like that, because whenever you rent, you basically pay for a roof over your head. And there is no such thing as paying for a roof over your head and throwing money out the window. So you got to live somewhere. If it's in an RV, if it's in a car, if it's homeless, even homeless people need to live somewhere. So they put up tents and do something. So you got to live somewhere. It's either going to cost you or it's going to be cheap for you. Either you're a homeowner, renter, you're homeless, you live in a car, you got to do something, right? So now being home poor basically means that you're struggling to pay your bills because your mortgage is so bloody high. And I do not know who let them do that, but I'm very biased towards buying. I like buying, I like renting too. But I'm very conservative when it comes to buying, because when you can't get a good deal, when you cannot get a good deal, you should not be buying, because when you're going to be home poor, there is no reason for you to be able to struggle when you buy a house. Because you should buy a house and it should feel good, it should make you be happy, and you should be able to live on, right? And have a happier and better life. So being home poor is hugely damaging to your future success. And I see somebody in New York make a cost analysis between renting and buying. So he said, if you're going to buy, you're going to spend about, for a one bedroom, you're going to spend about buying $9,000 a month with down payment and everything else. And if you rent, it goes about for $4,500. So the difference between rent and mortgage, if you invest that wisely with the down payment, you're very well off. You're very well off in New York to just rent and let that stock options and stuff like that accumulate. Because there's another rule that I like to follow is the longer it takes you to buy a house or buy something, the harder it is to sell it. So the easy purchases are when you buy something and you sell it in the same day. So like a car, you could buy it and you can sell it on the same day, and you can go to a bunch of different, you can go to CarMax, Carvana, you can go to a bunch of different places, and one of them will buy your car. And you could tell me, oh, wholesalers do the same thing, but that's different, because even a wholesaler is going to take time for you to get the title sent and do everything the right way. So it's going to take time. So houses sit on the market for 60, 70 days or 30 days, whatever. I'm not talking about some special market like in San Jose where it sells in 2 days. But when you're going to talk about how you're going to sell your house in 2 days and compared to 60, it's crazy. It's just crazy. And you don't want to be one of these people that overspend and are house poor and gonna rob your future just because you had that idea of, I don't like being a renter, I want to be an owner. And there's some kind of bias or some kind of history that people say you need to buy. And I'm from Switzerland and I come from a nation of renters, and people still become millionaires as renters because you can invest in stock options, you can do a whole bunch of different things that are beneficial to you and to your lifestyle, because buying and selling just because you can isn't always a good idea. And if you do think so, let me know in the comments below why you think you would do it differently than me. But yeah, at the end of the day, being house poor is hugely damaging for your kids, for your future, and for everything else in life that you want to do that requires credit or financing or anything else. Because we all know that we do not live like Dave Ramsey says, oh, don't buy nothing on debt. Because then 90% of cars on the road would not exist, because most of them are on payments. My car is on a loan too. Why would I pay cash for it when I can finance it and spread the payments out over 60, 72 months? Because I'll tell you one thing, if you're gonna save the money for a down payment, basically, or you want to save the money for and pay the house in full or the car, you basically saved up to make all that payments at once. Yes, the bank lost out on some interest, but the interest is also tax deductible, and that gets you into a mortgage, and your cost is going to stay the same over 10, 20 years. So basically, you're betting against the bank, saying that your house in 30 years at 4% or 3% mortgage rate is going to increase more than 3%, then it is going to appreciate. So you get 5% appreciation, they'll take 3, right? But one thing is that not everything like that is a good choice, because when you're going to be a renter, and I know people are screaming and saying rent is stupid, it's gonna just throw the stuff away you're throwing your money down the tube, is no. You get flexibility, you get a bunch of pros and cons, and should not be a shame that you should be renting. And actually, being a renter gives you flexibility of not taking care of your property and not doing the maintenance on it and not giving a damn. So you can just pay your dues, pay your rent, and never ever lift a finger on the property that you're renting. So nobody's expecting you to, oh, there's a water leak in the front yard of my house. You got to go fix that because it's costing you money. But if it's on your company, or if it's on your rental company, you're gonna be like, oh, there's a leak. Maybe I should say something. Maybe I shouldn't. Well, the water for the community is split between you and 200 other people. So maybe it's gonna go up $1 or $2 a month just because that happened. But you live on, and it is dangerous when people do that and buy $5,200 mortgages that they strictly can't afford, and then they got another car that's probably another $500-600, and then you're at $7,000. I know you're making good money, but man, $7,000 for your car, for your house and cars, and you haven't even paid insurance, gas, you haven't paid for a whole bunch of other things, and you're just hanging out, trying to live your life, and can't get ahead, and wonder why I'm not getting ahead, and I still have student loans and all that, and you're house poor. That's what it comes down to. So don't do it. Don't be house poor. Yeah, let me know if you have any questions. Thanks a lot for watching. If you stayed for so long, let me know which other videos you want me to do, if there's a specific topic you want me to go over, and leave me a comment, like and subscribe. Don't subscribe, dislike, do whatever. I appreciate you anyways, and thanks a lot, and I will definitely see you in the next video.